Hello everyone, it's Judy here at Janet's Floral, and today's daily dive is about fertilizing, and that would be our third installment of our Caring for Hanging Baskets. We've talked about the right location, we've talked about watering, and so if you missed that watering video, I would encourage you to go back and watch that. It was towards the end of last week, and I've had several people today tell me how helpful that was. So that, again, the second thing is about proper watering, and then today is about food. So plants need food and water, just like we need food and water to grow and thrive. And I think watering tends to not be ignored, although I think some people do ignore it, and then they get into trouble. But food or fertilizing is typically something people don't think much about. And plants need the nutrients that food gives them, just like we need the nutrients that food give us. And we like the brand or the family brand called Jack's, and it actually has been around for a long time. My grandfather Wayne, who started Wonder Gardens, which is where this began, used Jack's Classic, or it used to be called Peter's. And the family or the brand of Jack's has an all-purpose, which is what I've got in my hand here. They also have a petunia feed, which we love, and then there is the blossom booster, and a lot of our customers love the blossom booster. So I'm going to tell you just a little bit of the difference about them, and then talk about which plants you would use which on. So the numbers on fertilizer 20-20-20 on the all-purpose the first one is for nitrogen. Nitrogen is what makes your plants look really pretty green, like you can see here. The one in the middle, which is phosphorus or phosphate, that's the one that helps the flowers bloom, and it also helps support root structure. So you've got the top with the flowers and the roots at the bottom. So that's what the middle number's for. And then the last number is for potassium. Potassium is just for the overall health of the plant, and it helps it when it's getting stressed, or helps keep it from getting stressed. So a really important thing here in the last month is that potassium, because the plants have been getting stressed by so much cold. And then in the summer they'll get stressed because of the heat. So it just helps to give it strength for those difficult things that it might be facing. And there's a lot of life analogies for that, I think, but I won't get into all that. So that is 20-20-20, and you might say, well, I use something like one of the name brands on the market, the one that everybody thinks of, and we're not opposed to Miracle-Gro. If you have that at home, certainly use it. But we do like the 20-20-20 because it's a much stronger, I think, than most typical Miracle-Gro. And although you could probably double up on the Miracle-Gro, and I'm not going to give much direction on that, but we just really like the 20-20-20 from Jack's. You can use this for vegetables, for flowering plants, for indoor plants, for perennials. You can use it on everything for the most part. So if you've got lots of things you're trying to feed, the 20-20-20 is the way to go. If you have hanging baskets, so say you have a begonia, you would want the 20-20-20. Or maybe you have a geranium. You could use the 20-20-20, or you could use the blossom booster. And you could actually use this on the begonia as well, because obviously with flowering plants, you're trying to promote not necessarily a completely green plant, although you want a really nice plant, but you're trying to promote flowers, and that's what the blossom booster does. And many of our customers who have started using blossom booster love this because it just helps keep flowers blooming all summer long. So that's for those for New Guinea impatiens, or what are some other blooming plants? Sun patience, regular impatiens, zinnias, marigolds, all those general flowers. The 20-20-20 or the blossom booster are the way to go. If you have calibrachoas, which is what I've got here in front of me, or you have petunias, which is down below, or you have verbena, which I'm not seeing in anything right at the moment, but verbena is another one. Those are all iron-loving plants, and so for iron-loving plants, you would want to use this petunia feed. And bacopa is another iron-loving plant. Let's see, Dicea, Nemesia, Scaevola, pansies, and vinca. All of those are iron-loving plants. And one of the signs of a lack of iron, and I'm going to show it to you because I have an example, sadly. I have an example to show you. So this is a really healthy iron fortified plant. This is a plant over here, and if Mackenzie, if you want to get a little bit closer, you can see how this is turned lime green, and that lime green color is an indication of the need for iron. And so for us, we live in the country, and I think the hard water that we have here in the country lends itself towards having petunias or calibrachoas, which there's both in here, although the callis don't seem to be suffering quite as much as the petunia, but still they need iron. And so as we begin to give them regular dosage, regular feeding of petunia feed, we'll start to see that color turn more to this dark green color. And it won't take more than one application, but still it will start to change that color to the way it should be. Flowers are fine, it's just the foliage is missing the iron. So the petunia feed really helps with that a lot, and just helps petunias and the callis to grow and thrive. So that is what we use, and really what we recommend for the more iron loving plants. If you live in the city, maybe you won't need this as much, but it's still what we usually recommend for petunias. So that, and the timing, or how often you would fertilize, would be at least once every 10 days. But if that's hard for you to remember the 10th day, then just pick a day of the week and make that the day that you fertilize. You're going to do it every Monday, and then you'll remember that you need to do it. An important thing to remember when fertilizing is that you do not want the soil to be dry. So you don't want it sopping wet either, or the fertilizer will just run right through. So this is really wet. You would not want to fertilize when it looks like that. Let's see if I can find one that's at the right stage. This is probably good. So this soil is damp, but not super dry, and that's what you're looking for. I can't hardly hear squishing. It would be fine to water it, but it's not so dry that it's going to burn the roots. And if you are fertilizing it when the soil is really dry, crusty dry, or really hardly any moisture in it at all, then you're going to end up burning the roots, and then it'll show up on the edges of your leaves. They'll start to turn brown. You might see the browning on the inside. So it's just important that your soil be dry, but not overly dry, and somewhat damp still, and then the plant will be able to soak that fertilizer up without burning it. I think when the soil is too dry, it just absorbs it so fast and so much that it's too much for the plant. So just make sure there's some dampness still in the soil when you do it. So I think that about covers the fertilizing. And again, we can help. If you have any questions, just let us know. But don't forget the food. It really is important for the health of your plants. So there's one more installment of our Caring for Hanging Baskets, and we will do that sometime next week, and it will be on pruning. And it probably is time for many of you to do that to some extent, and so we'll talk about that next week. And we will also dive in on one of our days to container gardens, because even though container gardens have similar plants as all of these hanging baskets, I think the watering aspect of them is slightly different. So we will dive into that a little bit next week too. So I hope you have a great weekend and have enjoyed this beautiful day, and we hope to see you out sometime next week. Thanks so much. Bye.